An adventure game is a game where the player takes control of a main character in an interactive story. This genre of games is primarily driven by their story and drive of the player to explore the world that the game is set in. So what started the adventure game genre? How do adventure games hold up in today's market, and how do these games hold up against other genres? Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the new series, Genre Origins. In the late 1970s, a computer designer and caver, William Crowther, designed a small text-based game after his divorce in a hope to connect with his two daughters when they came to visit. The game takes the aspects of Dungeons and Dragons and his love for exploring caves and combines the two to create the catalyst of the first adventure game. Colossal Cave Adventure, created in 1976, is the supposed first ever adventure game, designed for the PDP-10's time-sharing computer. This game is a text-based game in which the player takes control of a character that is exploring a cave that contains treasure. When a player types a response to the program, the game replies with a humorous line. This is Crowther trying to give the program some personality. It is most likely Crowther did this to make the program more like a dungeon master in Dungeons and Dragons. This game was a huge success and is regarded as one of the most influential games of all time. This sparked the creation of the adventure game genre. Developed by Infocom, Zork is one of the most highly praised adventure games of all time. Originally designed for the PDP-10, Zork took inspiration from Colossal Cave Adventure and the style of the Choose Your Own Adventure books. At the time, Zork stood out from other games due to its rich amount of content. This game was so big that developers had to split into 3 separate parts: Zork 1, The Great Underground Empire; Zork 2, The Wizard of Frobos; and Zork 3, The Dungeon Master. After the game's success, it was adapted to many other consoles such as the IBM PC, the Apple II, the Atari ST, PlayStation, and the Sega Saturn, just to name a few. The game was very reminiscent of Dungeons and Dragons and was also a text-based adventure like Colossal Cave Adventure. Throughout the 80s and 90s, after the success of Star Wars, there was a large influx of space shooters, but LucasArts, the video game derivative of the Lucasfilm brand, created many point-and-click adventure games, one being the largely recognizable Secret of Monkey Island. Originally known as the Mutiny of Monkey Island, the Secret of Monkey Island is based on the fictional Melee Island. The player takes control of the main character, Guybrush Threepwood. The goal of the game is to complete the 3 trials the pirate leaders give you, ultimately resulting in Guybrush becoming a pirate. The game is frequently interrupted by cutscenes and is so unholy in the fact that it is almost impossible to die in the game. However, if you're underwater for more than 10 minutes, Guybrush does drown. This game was very well made and had a lot of charm and character to it. Most games around this time were released on home computers, as the game systems at the time were not nearly as powerful. Almost exactly 4 to 5 years after their previous consoles, the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 were the most powerful consoles the world had ever seen. Still not comparable to the PC, the consoles brought a new era of adventure games. With more powerful hardware available, the game companies were able to produce more content-rich games at a higher quality than they had ever been able to do before. Elder Scrolls Oblivion was developed by Bethesda Softworks. It came out on Xbox in March 2006 and the PlayStation the following year. The game is set in the fictional land of Cyrodiil. The main character wakes up in a jail cell for an unknown crime, and after the player's escape of the cell, the world opens up and the player can choose what to do and where to go from there. In the style of most Bethesda games nowadays, the game is an open-world RPG adventure game, where the player can choose to explore, follow the main story, and complete side quests. Oblivion was the building blocks for Bethesda's most recent titles. The game can be played in either first or third person, which the player can toggle between at any time. This helps the player play the game the way they want to and not feel restricted. Oblivion's 2011 successor Skyrim did everything that it did but put a shiny coat on it. Skyrim. Even though it is more of a fantasy game rather than an adventure game, it has quite a lot of adventurous aspects to it. To the massive map, knowing that if you see something you can go to it, to the quests going from one end of the map to the other, players are bound to get distracted and venture off the road. In today's market of games, the adventure game genre has quite a large fan base. Most adventure games are single player, but can be played in a cooperative mode. Modern day examples of adventure games are games such as Fallout, Skyrim, Horizon Zero Dawn, Tomb Raider, Uncharted, and some aspects of Minecraft. These games are extremely popular, and even though some of them are single player, that doesn't stop the massive community of gamers from buying them. In 2014, out of all of what's known as the super genres, 6% of that were adventure games. In a day and age where the game market is drowning in shooters, whether it's first or third person, adventure games aren't doing as well as they once were.